My brothers and sisters, what is going on, everybody? This is Steel Sermon, April 12th, 2023. What's the significance of that day? It's 4/12, meaning it is 4/12. Happy 4/12 day to all my fellow Yinzers and Pittsburghers out there, as that is Pittsburgh's area code, if you are not mistaken. We celebrate that every year on 4/12. So I'm going to come on here and talk just my general thoughts about all three Pittsburgh teams for 2023. And as I always say, if you're new to the channel, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram. Link is posted in the description box below. You know, I must say, usually the Steelers and the Pens are the talk of the town in Pittsburgh. But I gotta tell you, man, lately it's been the Pirates. And I'll even go as far to say right now that out of these three teams right now, the Pirates might be the best team of them. I am not even kidding. I know that we've played only 11 games. I know it's a 162 game season. I understand that. But if you take a look at how all three of these teams play and how they are built and how they are competitive, I think right now the Pirates might be the best of the three. A phenomenal walk-off win tonight, well, last night rather, against the Houston Astros, 7-4. We evened the series against them at 1 game apiece. A great rebound after that very bad outing on Monday, an 8-2 loss to the Astros on Monday night. Roansy Contreras had a really bad outing, allowed 7 runs, and that was about it. Only good thing I can say about that one really was that the bullpen did limit the damage, but not to the extent to where the Pirates could come back and win. It was the first game since O'Neal Cruz's injury, and at that point, you're thinking to yourself, well, it's going to be a long 4 months. You know, O'Neal Cruz is out 4 months because he fractured his ankle, which, honestly, that could be a good thing, because if the Pirates are, like, 500-ish around that time, and I'm not guaranteeing that's going to happen, okay? I'm not saying, yeah, we're going to be X amount of games over 500 on August 9th, or we're going to be at 500 on August 9th, or, you know, we're going to be this. I don't think about that. But what I am saying is, if we are around that mark in August, and we get O'Neal Cruz back then, I love our chances of making a run and possibly even sneaking our way into the playoffs. I really do like our chances of that, because there is chemistry and there is a lot of camaraderie when O'Neal Cruz's presence is felt. And I think this is, and needless to say, this is going to be the test of time for this young team right now, to see how we endeavor O'Neal Cruz's absence for the remainder of spring and practically all of summer. But tonight, against the Houston Astros, down 2-0, the team fought back. And it got started when Jack Suwinski, who's been in a massive slump all season so far, you could not hit that ball any further. Absolutely destroyed a ball over the Roberto Clemente wall into the Allegheny River, I think on the fly. Wow. That's one way to break out of a slump. That was his first homer of the year, and what a first homer it was, man. Then the Pirates took the lead. G-Man Choi hit a solo bomb to make it 3-2. Big insurance run thanks to Smith Njoku Najigma. I can't pronounce that guy's name to save my life. Made it 4-2. David Bednar comes out in the top of the ninth to close out the game. Unfortunately, the Astros tied the game at 4 in the ninth. And you're thinking it's a blown save for Bednar, which it was. It was a blown save for David Bednar. You don't see that very often from him. And you're thinking that the Astros are going to go up 2-0 on us and they're going to bust out the brooms tomorrow afternoon. Well, the Pirates got a rally started in the bottom of the ninth in a 4-4 game. And then with 2 runners on, it was Ji-Hwan Bae belting the walk-off 3-run homer to the Roberto Clemente wall and right. And the Buccos were a 7-4 winner over the Houston Astros. David Bednar, he did blow the save, but he was credited with the win. It's a little bit of a shame that Mitch Keller couldn't get the win because dare I say, okay, I know it's only been 3 starts, but dare I say, Mitch Keller's figured it out. Another phenomenal outing for Mitch Keller. He's 3 for 3 so far in my book. Three starts, all 3 of them were great. Tonight, he goes 6 innings, strikes out 7, allowed only the 2 runs, and allowed 6 hits. He had another great night. I'm telling you, this guy should be 3-0. He really should. He is the pitcher on this team that I have been the most critical of over the past couple of seasons. Dare I say, he's figured it out. He's 3 for 3 this year. He has not had a bad start so far. He really hasn't. And again, I know it's only 11 games. I know it's only his 3rd start. But it's such a breath of fresh air to finally see this guy put it together. You know? And that's just and that start by Mitch Keller and his season so far, it's pretty much the epitome of what the Pirates are right now. We're 7-4 on the season, still 2nd place in the NL Central, pending the Brewers and Diamondbacks down in Arizona. But what I mean is, this team looks like we're figuring it out. I know it's not something that we should pump our chests about, yeah, we can win at least 1 game every series, we can avoid the sweep and we can sweep the opponents. I know that's not something to exactly pump the chest about. But what I am talking about with this team is that when I say that they, in my opinion right now, are the best of the 3 teams in Pittsburgh, it's because of this. They are young. They have a lot of potential. They have not reached their potential, and they honestly don't have any idea how good they can truly be until they realize what positions work best for them, what pitches work best for them, how far they can hit the ball, how they attribute to things like sack bunting, sack flies, occasionally hitting the homer. Bucks hit 3 home runs in Tuesday night's game, by the way. So it looks like we're starting to pound the ball more. I mean, yeah, this is not a team that's going to hit, 200 homers a season. I know that's not realistic to expect, but, we got some pop in our swing. They get on base. They steal bases. They play great defense. And the team, when one guy goes down, it seems like players are starting to, step up. We didn't really see much of it Tuesday, but tonight, someone needed to step up. Jack Sawinski stepped up, broke out of his slump. At least for now. Ji-Man Choi stepped up. Ji-Hwan Bae, I don't think that needs to be said. He absolutely stepped up. Carlos Santana's been a really good find so far. And, of course, you got Brian Reynolds, who leads the league in homers and is top 10 in batting average so far. With the pitching, the rotation, I mean, it's kind of mid. The rotation, they do what they can. It's not awful. It's not great, but it's not awful. It's a very average rotation, in my opinion. They have the rotation has their moments, definitely, and we saw it again with Mitch Keller. Like I said, I think Rowanzi just had a bad night Monday night. It happens to the best of the pitchers, Not every pitcher can be Sandy Koufax. Not every pitcher can be Bob Feller or Greg Maddux or Randy Johnson. You get the point. Bad games happen to starters. JT Brubaker, when he comes back from the IL and when he gets back in the rotation, we'll see how he's doing. But I'm telling you, folks, if you're a Pirate fan and you can't get behind this start that this team is off to right now, you're not a fan. Plain and simple, man. I know people like seeing me come on here and rip this team to shreds. I get that, but how can you not enjoy this so far? We walked off the defending champions, rallied to beat them, and then when it looked like they had beaten us, we pulled an Uno reverse card on them and beat them again. How can you not enjoy this if you're not a Pirates fan? Now, this doesn't exclude Bob Nutting from anything. I know, we still got Bob Nutting. He's still a piece of crap owner. Oh, Derek Shelton still isn't the best manager in the game. This and that. But I'm telling you, I don't really know if you can attribute all of the disappointing 2016 to, let's say, 2019 to Bob Nutting. Because you got to remember who our GM was back then. It was Neil Huntington. At the end of the day, Bob Nutting doesn't make the transactions, and he doesn't say, yeah, we're going to bring in Ryan Vogelsong in spring. We're going to bring in John Jaso and Phil Gosselin. That's Neil Huntington right there. Neil Huntington failed to build upon a 98-win team in 2015. And he pretty much traded our entire farm 2 years later for that god-awful Chris Archer trade. That's probably one of the most infamous trades in the history of this franchise. But now you get a smart GM. Ben Cherington looks like he knows what he's doing. And the one thing that I can say about our GM is that he probably does have the common sense to not overpay Brian Reynolds, but to give him a decent amount for him to stay here so he can be here long term, so that way we can supplement him. Because such is the life of being a small market franchise. One bad contract can set you back. Look what happened with Joe Mauer and the Twins. Look what happened with Joey Votto and the Reds. That's why, yes, absolutely extend Reynolds, but you can't overpay the guy. You have to remember, you have to supplement him if he truly is the answer long-term in center field. But yeah, man, what was it that I said a couple years ago? Don't go to PNC Park. Well, guess what? If I were you, if I was a Pirates fan, I'd get your butt down on over to PNC Park to catch a game. This is a fun group of players to watch, man. We may not, we may not be the most talented team in the league, but this team goes out there and they fight every single night. Sure, sometimes you run into a buzzsaw. You get pummeled 11-5 or 8-2 or maybe even 21-0 again. You get it. Blowouts happen. Every team gets blown out every once in a while. But this team, they go out there, they give 110% effort every single night, and it's showcased in that walk-off win against Houston. This rebuild, I'm officially saying it, is going in the right direction. So get on down to PNC Park. Something that I'm doing August 27th, and I will be on the Roberto Clemente wall for the first time in my life. I've never sat in the Roberto Clemente wall all my years of going to PNC Park. I've never had a seat on the Roberto Clemente wall. I will be there August 27th, Roberto Clemente wall against the Chicago Cubs, because I'm going to be in Pittsburgh that weekend. I am going to a concert the day before, and then on my way back home, I'm going to go catch the game. So that's going to be a fun weekend. So yeah, go to PNC Park. Go check out this team, man. I think you're going to like what you see. Then we got the Steelers. Well, the Steelers are an interesting team. You know, this is going to be a very important draft for Omar Khan. I'm going to have a separate video out about that soon. So I'm not going to go full into depth about it, but basically, this is one of the most important drafts that this franchise is going to have to go through in the very recent memory. Because now you're entering a GM, his first full season being his first draft as GM of this franchise, who does not have a reputation of scouting talent well. But when you take into consideration of all the acquisitions that he's made with this free agency, you know, filling in positions for middle linebacker, filling in voids on the offensive line, getting a box safety, something that we desperately needed. This is a very big draft for Omar Khan. You know, the Pittsburgh Steelers are coming off a 9-8 season, which obviously I'm not in love with it. It's probably for the best that we missed the playoffs too, because, I mean, let's face it, you know, you had a rookie quarterback under center, you had a running back who is improving, but I really don't know with that offensive line being still under construction that he'd be able to carry the load throughout the playoffs. The defense is hit and miss. I mean, the linebacking core is really good, but the middle linebacking core we really need work with, which is why I want us to improve on it in this offseason, you know, in the draft. Secondary, we desperately need a corner. Like I said, we addressed the box safety. So my thing with the Pittsburgh Steelers is that we're kind of hard to identify right now. I can't call them a terrible team, and I can't call them a great team. To me, we're just very average right now. You know? And obviously that's not the standard for the Steelers in Pittsburgh. You're talking about a franchise that's won 6 Super Bowls, been to 8 of them, usually in the playoffs, usually runs the AFC North. That's not the standard for the Steelers. And with Artie II, you know, with his complacency, with, you know, keeping Matt Canada here, and now you got a head coach in Mike Tomlin who is getting chirped at more than ever now by this fan base. Like I said, I mean, pretty much every year now that Mike Tomlin is going to be here, it's going to be a prove it year. And it's going to be a prove it year for Artie II as well. So where do I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers are headed as far as the future goes? It's going to go as far as Artie II takes us. It's going to go as far as Kenny Pickett takes us. TJ Watt's health takes us. The offensive line giving Najee Harris room to run takes us. And the receiving core as well, something that I didn't mention as well. We need a solid receiver other than George Pickens because these other guys just ain't cutting it. I don't need to mention Deontay Johnson. He's been a major letdown for us. Obviously, the big trade that we had with Chase Claypool, who I think we are probably going to be going either corner at 17 or 32 goes. But you just take a look at everything that the Pittsburgh Steelers have as far as them as a whole. I can't call this this is the furthest thing from a Super Bowl team, but all things considered, this should be a team that should be going to the playoffs. And like I said, it's only gonna be that way if every single cog with the Steelers goes perfectly. And that's the state that the Steelers are in right now. We're not terrible. We're not amazing. We're not a dumpster fire. And we're certainly not a Super Bowl contender. We're just very average. And it's something that we need to pick on. And this draft is going to be very telling of it. And finally, you got the Pens. The Pens have been a major disappointment this season. And last night's 5-2 loss to the Chicago Blackhawks. Yes, the Chicago Blackhawks at home, second last game of the season. You can pretty much put a fork in it. I mean, honestly, you could have put a fork in it with the Pens about a month ago. But this officially did it. There is no way you can convince me otherwise that this is a playoff team. You just can't. Inconsistent net minding, lousy defense, bad breakaways. The scoring only goes as far as Sidney Crosby and Jake Gensel goes. It's just not a good team. And I don't care that we got 40 wins on the season once again. I don't care about the 90 points that we had. Okay? The Florida Panthers are on their way to the playoffs. The New York Islanders are pretty much going to wrap up a playoff spot because we got swept in the season series by the Islanders. And all the problems that lie with the Pens, as I've been saying for like the past month and a half now, it all starts with the GM and Ron Hextall. He has made some of the most mind-boggling decisions with this franchise, and that's why the Pens are where we are right now. We're just delaying the inevitable at this point with keeping the trio and not addressing stuff that we need to address. We're delaying the inevitable. This team needs to rebuild because it's very apparent we can hardly hang in with teams like the New York Rangers. I know we split the season series with them, but the Rangers, I mean, you take a look at their team as a whole, they're a far better team than us. We especially cannot hang with the New Jersey Devils. We lost all 4 games to them. The Islanders are better than us, obviously. The Hurricanes are better than us, obviously. I think we're better than the Capitals, but really that's nothing to gloat about. The Capitals, they're kind of in the same situation that we are. And then, of course, the Flyers and the Blue Jackets, 2 of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference. We swept the season series with Philly, which, don't get me wrong, I love being a Pens fan. You always love to beat the Flyers no matter what, but the Flyers stink. They're a rebuilding team. They're a bottom team in the league. They're going to be a very bad team for years to come. And the Blue Jackets, just forget about it. That I don't even get satisfaction with beating Columbus. We always beat those guys. So, I mean, really, you take a look at the Eastern Conference as a whole, who else are we better than? I mean, there's only like Three teams that I can confidently say that we're better than. And I know people are going to mention how we swept the Tampa Bay Lightning, but like that's an anomaly. That doesn't mean that we're better than Tampa Bay. You take a look at the Tampa Bay Lightning, their roster is 1,000,000 times better than ours. You know? So the Pens, I mean, it's incredible. The Pens went from being possibly the best team in Pittsburgh to being now possibly the worst team in Pittsburgh. It's a bunch of old players. It's a bunch of players that just don't live up to expectations. And it's a general manager who's a complete idiot. And that's why the Pens are going to miss the playoffs. It's funny. We're starting to see the gatekeeper change roles and pass down the torch. For years, it's been the Pens, and it's been the Steelers. The Steelers are the only consistent when it comes to Pittsburgh. Everyone goes to Acrisure Stadium, I guess you can call it now, for their season tickets or single game tickets or whatever to go root on the Steelers. But Pittsburgh always needed a second best team. And for years, that second best team were the Pens. The Pirates were, for decades, the worst team in this city. And we're now starting to see the Pirates be competitive and figure things out and turn around for the better. So I'm gonna let you discuss this in the comments below on 412 Day about who the best team in Pittsburgh is right now. Because if you ask me right here, right now, I'm telling you the best team are the Pirates. Who would think I'd be sitting down here saying the Pirates are the best team in Pittsburgh right now? Never in a million years would I think that. They're a very fun team to watch. The Steelers, they have their work cut out for them. Let's see what they do, but they're by no means terrible. And the Pens, they have a ton of work to do, to put it lightly. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Happy 412 Day, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Steel Sermon checking on out for the day. May God be with you all. I love Pittsburgh, baby.